Hey bestie, welcome back. Let's talk for a bit? You know those days when it feels like the world is judging us just because we like to dress up? We're emotional or simply because we love the color pink. Have you ever been told you're too pretty for something or that you look too delicate to handle something else? Yeah, society loves to underestimate women who express femininity. But today I want to introduce you, or maybe just remind you, of a character who shattered all of that with style, brains and strength. Elle Woods from Legally Blonde. Today we're diving into her mindset. The way she thinks, the way she moves through the world, and the way she shows up. Because what she's got, girl, is a true superpower. Elle Woods showed us she's not just a pretty face with a killer wardrobe. She's driven, real, and never bows down to anyone. Even when everyone doubts her, she keeps going and proves that being feminine has never been a weakness. So grab your favorite drink, get comfy, and come with me to unpack the Elle Woods mindset and how you can shift into that energy too. So if you're ready for a mental, physical, and spiritual glow up, go ahead and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss a thing. Okay, let's start with, who is Elle Woods really? Well, if you've seen Legally Blonde, you know Elle is that girl who looks like she just stepped out of a magazine cover. Always flawless, obsessed with fashion, always smiling, and surrounded by her sorority sisters. She's president of Delta Nu, totally in love with Bruiser, and lives in a pink, sparkly universe. At first glance, a lot of people think she's just another shallow sorority girl, but that's where they're wrong. Because behind that gorgeous, ultra-feminine image, there's a woman with serious ambition, razor-sharp intelligence, and a quiet strength that surprises even the most skeptical. The story kicks off when her boyfriend, Warner...
Elle, if I'm gonna be a senator, well, I need to marry a Jackie, not a Marilyn.
So you're breaking up with me because I'm too... blonde?
dumps her because in his tiny little brain, he wants to be serious, and Elle doesn't fit into that image. So what does she do? She doesn't just sit around crying. Well, okay, maybe she cries a little because, hey, she's human too, right? But then she pulls herself together and decides, I'm going to Harvard. Yep, Harvard Law School, just to prove she's all that and more.
Elle?
Warner? I totally forgot you go here.
What are you talking about? I'm sorry, are you here to see me?
No, silly. I go here.
You go where?
Harvard. Law school.
You got into Harvard Law?
What, like it's hard?
And from there, we start to see who Elle really is, a woman who doesn't need to change who she is just to be taken seriously. She faces judgment, dumb jokes, people looking down on her. And she keeps going, head high, heels on, and totally committed. And that's where the real power of the Elle Woods mindset begins. The Elle Woods mindset is basically the way Elle sees the world. And it comes down to a few key things that, honestly, we can totally apply to our own lives. First of all, Elle Woods knows exactly who she is, and that's one of the most powerful things about her. Even when people around her treat her like she's a walking joke. From Harvard classmates to some professors, she doesn't let their opinions define her worth. You know that feeling when you're in a room where no one seems to believe in you just because you don't look the part? Elle goes through that nonstop, but she never doubts herself. Sure, she feels insecure sometimes, but she never lets that consume her. And that self-trust, even when it's shaken, always comes back stronger. Because she believes in her potential and doesn't need outside validation to keep shining. Second, the most beautiful thing about Elle's journey is that she never dims her light or tries to become someone else just to be respected. She keeps wearing pink, keeps doing her makeup, keeps being kind and super feminine, and she shows us that those things are not weaknesses, they're strengths. While everyone at Harvard is trying to fit into this cold, stiff mold, she walks in and completely breaks that pattern with her authenticity. And the best part? She turns what everyone saw as silly into her secret weapon. Remember that scene where she solves a legal problem just because she understands how a perm works?
I got up, got a latte, went to the gym, got a perm, and came home.
Were you got in the shower? Yes, Your Honor. Miss Wyndham, had you ever gotten a perm before?
Yes.
How many would you say?
2 a year since I was 12.
Chenny, why is it that Tracy Marcinko's curls were ruined when she got hosed down?
Because they got wet?
Exactly. Because isn't it the first cardinal rule of perm maintenance that you're forbidden to wet your hair for at least 24 hours after getting a perm at the risk of deactivating the ammonium thioglycolate?
Yes.
And wouldn't somebody who's had, say, 30 perms before in their life be well aware of this rule? And if in fact you weren't washing your hair, as I suspect you weren't because your curls are still intact, wouldn't you have heard the gunshot? And if in fact you had heard the gunshot, Brooke Wyndham wouldn't have had time to hide the gun before you got downstairs, which would mean that you would have had to have found Mrs. Wyndham with a gun in her hand to make your story plausible. Isn't that right? You, however, had time to hide the gun, didn't you, Chetney? After you shot your father.
I didn't mean to shoot him. I thought it was you walking through the door.
Bailiff, take the witness into custody where she will be charged for the murder of Hayworth Wyndham. In the matter of the state versus Brooke Wyndham, this case is dismissed.
Exactly. It shows that no knowledge is useless when you know how to use it in your own way. Third, she never gives up. This woman just doesn't quit. Every obstacle that comes her way, Elle sees it as a new challenge, not a reason to give up. From the moment she decides to get into Harvard to the end of the movie, she hears no after no, she's underestimated, ridiculed, doubted. But she keeps going. And the most beautiful part is that she doesn't keep going out of anger or bitterness. She keeps going with the same sparkle, the same charm, and the same smile on her face. Because for her, the journey isn't about proving anything to others. It's about proving something to herself. And that, girl, is a huge lesson. It doesn't matter how hard things get, how much others doubt us, or even how unsure we feel sometimes. If we just keep moving, even slowly, we'll get there. And as Elle showed us, we'll get there looking fabulous. There's a part in the movie where Elle almost gives up on everything. She's tired of being doubted, tired of fighting against people's prejudice, and starts to think maybe this world just isn't for her. And look, we've all had a moment like that, right? That thought of, why keep trying if everything seems to be going wrong? But then her professor steps in and reminds Elle who she is. And that's one of Elle's biggest strengths. She listens, she reconnects, and she comes back, even stronger. That shows that being strong doesn't mean never breaking down. It means breaking down, yeah, but getting back up after. The truth is, Elle Woods is absolutely gorgeous. But you know what's most impressive about her? The way she never let her looks define who she is. From the start of the movie, we see people only focusing on her outside, assuming she's shallow, dumb, or basic, just because she's pretty, feminine, and loves pink. But Elle never tries to justify herself or hide who she is. On the contrary, she embraces all of it with pride and shows, through actions, that a woman can be beautiful, stylish, and incredibly smart at the same time. Because one thing doesn't cancel out the other. Her femininity was never a weakness, it was always her authenticity shining through. And then over time, people start to see that behind that pretty face is a strategic, dedicated, studious, empathetic, and fair woman. Elle isn't just someone who studied hard to get into a tough program, she also stands out because she has presence. She has ethics, and she has heart. At the core, she represents all of us women who've been underestimated because we seem delicate, but who carry a massive strength inside. Adopting the Elle Woods mindset is, above all, an act of self-love, because it's about stopping the constant apologizing for being who we are, whether that means liking girly things, being gentle, or dreaming big. This mindset reminds us that we can be sweet and driven, stylish and smart, sensitive and brave. Elle shows us we don't need to fit into little boxes to be taken seriously. We just need to know ourselves, respect ourselves, and stay grounded in what we believe in. And what Elle Woods teaches us isn't just about getting into Harvard or winning a case in court, it's about knowing you can even when the whole world says you can't. It's about standing firm in your own way. Your own taste, your own essence, even if it's different from what people expect. Because just being a woman is, in itself, a daily act of resistance. And if we can do that with confidence, with courage, and yeah, with a pink purse on our arm, why not? That's it. I love you.